Hi.
Hey, by the way, I'm not trying to attack you or anything. It's very nice to meet you, so I'm not here to I didn't know I was going to talk to you, but nice to meet you and I'm happy to talk about whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just don't want to yell. I don't want any yelling because I'm already a bit anxious about this.
No worries. I'm sorry. I know you see me hyped up. I got really no issue with you personally, so don't worry about that. Onision, I'll deal with a different way, but I'm happy to keep calm with you because I do have anxiety at times too, so I understand.
Yeah. Well, I know that you had an issue, I know you talked to those girls who claimed they dated me, and that was upsetting to me because I didn't date them or do any of the stuff they said I did. So I was really upset about that because it just made no sense to me and no one came to me first. Mind you, I don't know what Haley said because I didn't finish the video, but
Sure.
what Aaron said was just completely untrue. So I don't know. That was really upsetting to me because I literally talked to her for like 2 weeks. I never dated her. I never asked for passwords. I've never asked anybody for passwords in my life. So that's like not something I would do. Anybody who knows me knows that's not something I would do. I hate confrontation. That's never something I would do or get in someone's face like that. So
No,
sorry.
I hear you.
I'm like shaky.
Oh no, I swear, like I'm not this horrible person. I've got issues with your husband. I'm not gonna hide that, but no, I don't really have that many issues with you. So I'm not gonna attack you and stuff. And I want to say sincerely because I know we did a little bit of tweeting back and forth, and you had the live stream. I did try to reach out, and here's my thing, please, and I hope you don't take this rudely. You, at that time, well, even now, you're a much bigger known person than me, so I didn't expect to hear from you. My goal wasn't to hurt you, because in fact, if you watched my videos a long time ago, I was really supportive of you. And I still am in many ways. There are things that I've seen, because your husband puts out, that I don't like, but I still have a lot more support for you in this situation. I did try to reach out, and then when you had the live stream, I don't know if you remember, I did try to tweet at you respectfully to see if you wanted to talk in your point of view, and you didn't, and that's fine. I wasn't upset with you about it, but I did try to see if I could. I just want you to know that. It wasn't like a gotcha thing, but at the same time, I hope you realize that the reason I did all that was because, and I would love to get your opinion on this if you want, and you don't have to say anything you don't want to because my issues are with your husband. Okay. The reason why I was so upset was because at that time your husband was doing the stuff where he puts girls on the channel and rapes their bodies, and some came out as young as 12. And legally, that's actually an issue because if you're making money off of it, then you have to have a contract or the parents can actually come after you. That was my biggest issue. And I wanted to know, and see, it's hard because what he does, you can't help. He's his own person, right?
But that's a big issue too. People come after me when I don't control anything he does. And I think a lot of people misunderstand. First of all, I think a lot of people misunderstand like how he actually is in person, because he's very different when he's off the camera. And I know people are going to say that I'm lying when I say that, but I'm not. And I also I don't know. I think that people think that I can control whatever he does, and I can't. And there's a lot of things that he does that I disagree with too. But again, it's not my decision what he does and does not do on his channels. And if he does something that I disagree with, I tell him that I disagree with it, and it's never an issue. He doesn't get mad at me. He doesn't, I have my opinion, he has his opinion. And I've done it publicly before too. Like, people have seen that I, have said stuff like when the whole Black Lives Matter thing was going on. I said stuff on the other end of that debate, and I didn't agree with him, and that was that. But like I said, I can't do anything to change the things he does. And the stuff with my ex, I said in my video, I didn't agree with a lot of how that happened. I didn't agree that he put private information out there. I didn't agree that he had asked, well, it was kind of both of them talking back and forth about terms or whatever. I wasn't involved in any of that. I had actually texted her and said, I don't want to reconcile things. I think that this has gone on too long and we're not compatible. I have the texts saved. So I had told her that. So I had nothing to do with any of that. That was them discussing terms, and it wasn't just one-sided. She wanted terms. She agreed to certain things that I didn't want to happen, I didn't even want to work things out. And then all of it blew up publicly, which is the last thing I wanted to happen. I wanted this to end, I don't know, cleanly, I guess, on good terms, as good of terms as they were. Not great, but on better terms than they are now. But that's how it happened. And I didn't even want to have to make a video about it, but I felt like it was unfair because everybody else has got to make a video about the whole situation except for me, because I'm trying not to cause problems, and then I get lumped in that I'm doing something bad, or I did something bad to her, which I really didn't. I don't know. I don't know if that's something I want to talk about either, but
no, it's okay. And
like
if it's cool, I'll kind of tell you the perspective where me and some other people came from. And I don't know if I know you saw the interview at least. I don't know if you've seen my other videos. I actually try to be a lot more like, I'll give credit where it's due. I'll give points where it's due. And in many of my videos, I've really, really supported you because I think, and I'm not trying to get into the whole bulk of your relationship, but with what your husband puts online, it is unfair to you. Like and I'm not trying to put your relationship down. I'm saying that it puts you in an unfair spot because he's putting out private personal information that has to do with you. That can be really damaging. And it puts you in a spot where, to public perception, if you don't speak out, it looks like you support it and that you are enabling it. I'm not saying you are. I'm just letting you know what it looks like. And so I think what a lot of people were upset about was the severity of the situation. And the severity we felt like it didn't look like you or your husband were taking it seriously, even though you addressed it, because you have anxiety, right? I get anxiety. So I know what that's like. So I know exactly like what that feels like. And as far as we're aware, the ex that you guys had, I don't want to say your name. She has anxiety.
Well, she's here apparently. So, and she's saying I did ask her for a password, but I never did. That Greg did ask her for her phone password once, not because of what she's saying, but because she she was texting Rag Reynolds or something, and he asked to see it. That's all it was. But I never asked for a password. And she knows that I would have never asked her for a password because I was scared to death to ask her for anything, including, the one thing I ever asked her, she went behind my back and did anyways. So.
I gotcha. Okay. And I think the public perception is that if she has anxiety, and I will say this, and I know you and your husband are really anti-drugs. I'm similar. I don't have the same staunch stance.
I'm not anti-drugs. I'm not anti-drugs. Okay. I think that people should do what they want to do, but I personally do not want drugs in my life. I don't want people who do drugs or prioritize drugs in my life. And that's where that comes from. Like, I don't care if you smoke weed. I don't care what you do on your own personal time. But if you are going to, if that's going to be a big part of your life, then we're, not going to get along. It's not going to work out because that's not something I want as a part of my life. And I've had the same issue, my ex-boyfriend and from high school. The exact same reason that relationship ended. Well, on top of a lot of other things, it was a big thing. But there's nothing wrong with that. That it's my decision what I do and do not want in my life. It doesn't have anything to do with I'm anti-drug or I'm anti-pot or whatever. I think that pot should be legal. I think people should do what they want, but that's not something I want for my personal life. So, there's nothing. That's all I have to say.
And Lainey, you and I actually agree in that because funny enough, when I was in high school, I had a 3-year relationship with a guy that did the same thing with drugs with me. So I agree with you there. Here's what I wanted to get at. The one thing that and this is something I've done as I've gotten older, I've gotten a little more tolerant in the sense of, so for instance, with Billie, I know I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say her name, I'm not trying to upset you, that's slip of the tongue. She has talked about that she uses it for her anxiety. For instance, I use CBD oil. Now that won't get you high, but that helps me with my fibromyalgia and my pain, and I'm sure you don't have an issue with that. But I know with you and I having crippling anxiety, the issue I think a lot of us had was that because she lied about, I know there was a few things. So I don't remember all of them at the moment, but I know one of them was I believe it had to do with smoking pot or the way she did it.
Well, that was several times. It wasn't so much about the pot as it was about the lying. And I saw someone say if I knew she did that, why did I get in a relationship with her? I didn't know she did that. She lied to me about the fact that she didn't do that. So I didn't know, or else I wouldn't have continued that relationship after that.
I would say this, though.
Been there, done that, and I don't want to do it again.
Sure, and I will say this, and by the way, there's no right or wrong. I'm just curious on what you think. If it's what she uses to deal with her anxiety, if this is, because I know, and you know how it is, a lot of the drugs they give people for anxiety or mental illness can really do damage elsewhere. For some people, they work. For some people, they don't. Everybody's body is different. Would you be okay? Would you still not be okay with it if it's something that she used for crippling anxiety?
The thing is, I don't want it around me. That was
even
literally
in that
what he
case.
said.
Sure,
And
and
so
you had
then,
kids, right?
exactly, that's not something I want to condone to my children. That's not the example I want to set. So,
Right. And you have every right. And I don't disagree with you there. You have every right. I think where our concern came in was that I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I might have some details wrong, per your husband's request, because she lied, that she was going to have to dye her skin orange, shave her head bald, but dye it green. She was going to have to get a tattoo that says "I'm a liar" right above her butt. She was going to be chained up by her neck and it for a week in the basement. And as you know, having crippling anxiety, and I have anxiety that comes up time to time, that could, and without her being able to have access to anything that could help her calm it down, because that's not what you condone, which is fine, that's your right, that to us, that is a very dangerous looking situation. And furthermore, that's a form of psychological abuse to do to somebody. And I'm not saying you agreed with it, because you came out and said you didn't agree with it, but the problem is that it seemed like you kind of brushed it over, and the appearance was that you stood by him and for a while actually agreed to it. And we were concerned going, so are your kids going to see this girl mutilated and chained up in the basement? And so a lot of us, that was a lot of where the concern was. And because it didn't look like you came out strongly against that, they're like, we looked at it as you were supporting it. And I know your husband has said it's BDSM, but that's not necessarily like what he tried to do, unless I'm wrong, is not considered BDSM by BDSM standards. So that I'm not sitting here accusing you. I'm just telling you why I was upset and how it looked to other people.
Well, here's the thing about that. She had asked, I wasn't even talking to her at this point. This was after I had said I don't want to reconcile things with her. She and her and him were talking, and she asked like for extreme terms, and many of the terms that he discussed with her involved making a video, apologizing to me or something. Again, I didn't want to get back with her.
Sure.
And that basement thing was one of the things he threw out. He threw out several, and that was the one that she liked, and that was like what she wanted to do. And then we asked her if she had smoked since, or he asked her. I didn't ask her. He asked her if she had smoked since we broke up with her, and she said yes. So we ended it there. Like, it was never something that was like going to happen or anything like that. Like, I was never really involved in any of this, besides I saw the text after it happened. So, like, after the discussion happened and after we already said, like, we found out that she had smoked again and that we wanted to end it there. So, a lot of this happened between them two and not with me, which is, my issue with the entire relationship, if I'm being honest. It was a lot of me on the sideline.
Right,
so
that's not fair to you. And I want to say, this is where I've always and this is no shade to Billie at all, but this is where I've always supported you, in that a lot of this was really unfair to you. And I think from a lot of our perceptions, it looked like your husband was going behind your back and going back and forth between you two. And it wasn't. That's why in the beginning, and in many ways, I'm still a very big supporter, because it wasn't right to you.
They both were. And I've been honest about that. There's a lot of things he did that were awful to me. That really hurt me.
Right. Of course. And I agree with that. And I can't, like, honestly, you having 2 children, I would be fucking hurt. Like, so I can understand that we aren't seeing the side of you that is emotionally wrecked from the situation, and I get that. And I would be a nutcase. But I will say this. It did look like, even though everything was agreed between them, it looked like that what we saw was that you condoned it and you were okay with it.
Well, I talked about it in my video. I tried to do it vaguely because I didn't really want to get into it, but I did say in my video that this is not something I wanted, and I told her that publicly or privately through text, because she asked me if it was something that I thought she deserved or whatever, and I said no, and I said that I never suggested it. I never was on board with any of this, and I didn't even know the texts were happening as they were happening for the most part. So she probably still has that text. I may still have that text. I don't think it's relevant. Like, I feel like people are going to take my word for it. If not, I probably have the text. I don't have the conversations, but I did screen cap some things just in case.
No, and I believe you. I hope I'm coming across that way. I'm not trying to accuse you of being a liar. I do believe you in this. But what I do want to still drive this point home. If you don't come out against it strongly, and if you were okay with what they came up with, then what
I
happens
wasn't.
is,
I wasn't.
right. I'm just telling you how it looks. It looks like you were enabling your husband trying to be abusive, because nobody should have to pay for messing up that way. And I know you're saying that. I'm just telling you how it looked to all of us.
I kind of don't understand why she's here. So, sorry.
That's okay. If you need a moment, like, take your time, girl. You do you. Like, you've been put through some not fair shit, and I want you to know, like, the internet sees it. We see it. And I'm not trying to paint you as a victim, because I think you're a strong woman. I really do. Like, as you know, my channel started 6 months ago, and my channel's grown. It's overwhelming for me. And you've been kind of thrown into all this. You know what? So, like, I do want you to know I have a lot of compassion for you. I really, really do. You've been through a lot of not fair shit. Even your husband has admitted that. And I don't want to sit here. I'm not trying to attack. I just hope I can give you a perspective on how it's looked to everybody else. I hope I'm coming across respectful.
But, I mean, I said this earlier. My point is that, I guess from my point of view, it's like Greg is not the person he portrays online at all. And so to have people, like, act like this is, like, I'm being abused, besides what happened that, like, with that relationship, which I will agree was really fucked up, there's nothing like that going on, and people treat me like I don't know what's going on and that I'm not aware that he's abusing me or whatever, and people don't know him. They know what he puts forward, and that's not who he is as a person.
Let me ask this. Could it be that that's not who he is to you? Because, like, all I know of my exchange with him is somebody who's not very nice to me, and he's not been very nice to a lot of people. Now, he seems to adore you. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, for the most part, it seems like, he loves you and cares about you, but do you think it's that he just treats you differently than the rest of people? And I'm not saying that's the case.
I've been around him and others, like, in person. He's a different person. Like, I mean, my family's been here. He's good to them, besides my dad, but that's, like, my dad hasn't been here, to be fair. But there's a lot of other things that went on with my dad. And to make that clear, my dad is not our lawyer. My dad has only given me some legal advice. He was never going to be the one to facilitate any of that. That's not what he does. That's not the kind of attorney that he is. So
okay, well, and that's what your husband alluded to in our conversation. And maybe that's misspeaking. I'm open. That could be miscommunication. So that's good to know. That's definitely good to know. Yeah, like, I really, like, I just want to tell you, like, I don't know you, but I feel like I can, in a lot of ways, relate to some stuff you're going through, and I feel like a lot of stuff hasn't been fair. Honestly, my opinion is I don't think things were fair to you or to Billie. But I especially think Billie, because of what your husband came up with as a punishment, obviously. And with you, I mean, I just don't, here's where, I want to put this out there, and I've said this before. And please, I hope I'm not coming across like I'm attacking you. The brain doesn't fully develop until you're 25. Like, I think you study psychology, right? So you probably are aware of some of what I'm referring. Okay, so I didn't mean to, like, come across like I'm educating you. I just realized, shit, you probably know this. So, those centers a bit like where the decision making is and consequences, that doesn't fully form. The reason why a lot of us are so mad at your husband is because it looks to us like he has been taking advantage mentally of you and other people that he, or maybe both of you, agreed to pull into your relationship at times, because these people don't yet have the life experience or literally the brain development yet to be able to understand what they're getting into. Like, girl, before my mid-20s, I was a mess. I mean, like, not like you got your shit together. You're like an adult. You have a degree. You're a mom. You're doing really well for yourself. But I know me and a lot of people I knew, because we were just really reactive. And you don't seem reactive. You do seem very emotional, but you're not reactive. I think you're the kind of person, it looks like that you internalize it all. And that's why it comes out as anxiety when you're dealing with stuff, which makes sense. And I'm not trying to diagnose or anything, but my point is that your husband is older and he knows better. And to us, it looks really irresponsible, the situations he keeps putting you and he keeps putting these other young girls into. It's not fair to you guys. And that's how it looks to us.
Well, initially, this relationship was just supposed to be between her and I, and that the two of them kind of, well, in January when everything happened, the two of them kind of decided that it wasn't just the two of us. I don't know. I wasn't really on board with that decision. But I decided that it probably would be for the best, and I tried to become comfortable, but I don't know. I couldn't, and both of them didn't really respect that. So, and I don't want to say just she, it was both of them. But
and I think,
the issue with what happened in November is partially my fault because I did not talk to Greg about my concerns with that and my boundaries. I came to my ex because I wanted, I told her I'd feel more comfortable coming to her about it because I felt like I could trust her and I felt like she would keep my best interest in mind. And I didn't want to cause any problems, right? I didn't want to make anybody upset. And she said, of course, I would never do that to you. But turns out the next day she literally went behind my back. Literally next day, or actually same day, right after the discussion. So, and people have said I fault her more than I fault him, and I kind of do in that regard because I didn't talk to him, and that's on me. I should have talked to him too, so everybody was in the same, had the same understanding. But
real quick, I just want to interject. Really, here's what I look at. He's much older than you guys. His brain is developed. He's been in many relationships. He's been around longer. To us, it looks like it's on him. Because he's older, he's more developed. There is more of a responsibility naturally that should be put on him to know better in these situations. And that's where
I had essentially given him permission, but I wasn't exactly sure what I was agreeing to. So, because it was vague the way we talked about it. And that's not his fault. It's not my fault. I should have clarified then. But instead I clarified to her. So that's what I mean. Why I fault her more for that specific situation.
I would say this though. Do you think it's possible that, because I think this is where a lot of our concern is, because we see, at least from what we can see, because you're right, I don't know your husband outside the internet, so who's to know if I know what's really going on, right? But from what we can see, your husband can be, and he even said this in that, thing about having manipulative language. Is it possible that behind the scenes he was manipulating both of you? Because to us, that's what it looked like, and that's why we were all upset for both of you.
I don't know where she's coming from, because she won't really explain any of it to me. She never has. Just when I called her out for it, she got extremely angry at me and started cussing at me and calling me a bitch and all these other things. So I didn't really ever get a chance to understand where she was coming from. But, I've said too that he, especially back in January, there was manipulative language when he said he wouldn't do anything with her that a friend wouldn't do. I've said that. And I don't know. He said that. We both agreed to that. That was exactly what happened. But I don't know. I don't really know where this is going. As
okay. I didn't know we were going to be talking. I mean, it's nice. Like I've said before, you're a really pretty young girl. And I'm sorry, that's not I'm not saying it as a put down. I'm 33, so when I say girl, I mean compared to me, I'm a lot older. You're a very pretty young woman. You're very smart. You're educated. You put up with a lot of shit, and I figured you'd be a really nice person, and you seem, as far as to me, what I can see is somebody you've been a lot more kind and respectful than your husband has to me, which I appreciate. And is there anything that is there any amends I should make with you? Because if I'm the kind of person, if I've done something wrong, I will apologize. That's something I do on my channel. And if you feel that I owe you an apology, if there's something I can do for you, I'm happy to do it. You just let me know.
I haven't seen any of your stuff except for I watched the first part of that video about the interview or whatever with Aaron and Haley. I didn't see the part with Haley, so I don't know what was said there. I can tell you 100% that what Aaron said was absolutely not true. 100 million% was not true. I talked to her for maybe a month. Maybe. And I was never dating her. It was never implied that I was going to date her. I never asked for a password. There was none of that ever happened. We never discussed her coming to my graduation. I just don't understand where any of that came from. So it'd be great if that video could be taken down since it's not true, and I've gotten people coming to me saying that I've done this stuff when I didn't do any of that. And I've seen some people in the comments too, like saying, like Aaron is here apparently, because Aaron keeps making accounts to come here for some reason, saying that I burned all of Billie's stuff. I didn't. I sent her 3 boxes of her things. I spent over $100 shipping her back her things. And she has not sent me any of my things that she still has. She has like $300 worth of my clothing that I've asked for back, and she won't send it back. There was like a couple of things that got burned, but that got burned back in, and they weren't really like her things. They were things that we were sharing and that were at my house. They weren't just hers, you know. It was like a onesie thing. It's that Care Bear one that I was wearing that one time.
That's cute, by the way.
That was back in November, before she even came back for the final time. And she didn't have a problem with it then, so I don't know why it's a problem now. But yeah, like I said, I sent her back boxes and boxes of everything I found in my house. She left this giant unicorn that we bought for her here. I sent that to her. I stuffed it in a box, and I paid $50 to send it to her because I wanted her to have all her stuff that she left here. I sent her stuff that I had bought her after she left and before we broke up, that technically I shouldn't have even given to her, but I bought it for her, so I wanted her to have it. I went through everything in my house, and I found everything I could. I found one thing since then, and it's like a tiny little guitar pick. And that's the one thing I didn't send. So I don't know why this is like a whole big thing, but like she never sent me my stuff, you know? She has several pairs of my pants. She has several of my shirts. She has a lot of my stuff. And I've never gotten any of it back. So I don't understand that either. Sorry. I know that's not really related to you. I just saw somebody talk about it in the chat, and it bothers me.
You know, I'm not really close with Billie, but I am in contact. I don't know if you'd be comfortable. I could try to help facilitate to get whatever exchanged. I don't know if that's weird to offer, but I'm happy to help.
I don't want anything to do with her.
Okay.
Like, at all.
Okay.
And I know that I've heard rumors that she's talking about things she should not be talking about, including my children. So.
Okay. I don't know anything about that, but I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not aware of that. Real quick, people in the chat
that's absolutely not okay with me.
I understand that. I hear you there, and I can agree with that. And real quick, people are saying in the chat, I just want to bring this up. They're saying I'm misgendering you. Oh Lord, this is my memory stuff. It is not intentional. What? And the they them thing, my brain fries out. I'm like, I don't know how to form the sentence. Is it okay if I'm saying she? Should I try?
I'm not going to police it. I'd prefer they, but as of right now, I'm not going to police it.
Okay, I just know it's not intentional. I'm stupid. Just understand. Like, it's my issue right now. I'm dumb to remembering or even forming it. They them. I've tried it before and I always fail. Right on. Well, is there anything else you wanna talk about or clear up? Because I'm happy to do it. And you're so nice. You're really nice.
If you have something you need me to clear up, really the only thing I think I can say as far as the issue with Greg or whatever is that he's not in a lot of ways he's not the person that everybody seems to think he is. Like, this horribly abusive, I don't know what else, person to me especially, and everybody I've been around with him in person, he's nice to. I think that and you guys have seen, I'm sure some of you have seen when I broadcasted with him, he literally turns into a different person in front of the camera. He just, like, the energy comes on, the offensive humor comes on, all that, but like in person, he's like one of the most laid back people I've ever met. He's quiet and he's really chill. And so like people just have this idea of him that's not him. And that bothers me a little bit, you know? And especially
I wish he would show us. Like, I wish that, and that's always my issue, because I kept thinking, I'm like, Greg could be this cool as fuck person. You know, like, we've all seen it. You know, he cares a lot about animals and vegetarianism. He's got, as far as we can see, a lot of good points. I just wish that I wish he had the confidence to just come out and be himself rather than play these characters and the villain just to try to get attention. I agree with you. I wish.
I don't think it's a comfort thing. I think this is, this is his job, and that's what he does. So
True, but at the same, I would say this, to play devil's advocate, it is, because at least if you're an actor, people know you go to a set, you act, you're a different person. Greg blurs those lines so that if he doesn't clarify, then it goes beyond acting into it's a form of what looks like to us is lying, because he's not being clear with it. And that's where we all get really confused, because there's not that clarity. He will come at us and this is exactly what it is. And with, how it is, he can be really confident with a lot of assurity and almost sometimes aggressive. And I don't mean like physically. I just mean like, he asserts himself a lot. Mm-hmm. But then he'll turn around every so often and say everything is fake, but then convince us that it's not. So it's very confusing for people.
I wouldn't say it's fake. Like the things, like the points he makes or whatever is truly what he believes. I'm just saying he's not as aggressive as a person, or he's not, I don't know, I think you guys seem to have this opinion that all this stuff goes on behind the scenes that doesn't go on. Like, obviously I get tons of stuff like saying that I need to go to a shelter, or I need to this, and that, and that is just outrageous to me. That idea is outrageous to me.
I think you need to do whatever feels right for you and your kids. Like, it's none of our business.
And that's what I am doing.
Right. No, I agree with that. And I agree with that sentiment. You need to do whatever feels right for you and your kids. And as long as you're doing that, and, then that's nobody else's business. But again, like, I just wanted to, since you were here, I thought I'd take a moment to just kind of go over the perception. And this is just, again, this is just my perception, my experience. Or I don't want to even say advice, because I don't know you well enough to, give advice. I'm not trying to be arrogant. But what I would say is, if there was ever a situation again that includes what looks like to us a lot of abuse, what might be a good idea is to come out strongly against it if you don't agree with it, because otherwise it looks like enabling. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but that's what it looks like to everybody.
Sorry, I was talking to my sister. Okay. She said she needed to do eyeliner. The reason I don't talk about a lot of this publicly is because I don't like the drama. I don't like to talk it. I don't like any of this, Clearly, I'm like crying. But yeah, that's why I don't talk about a lot of it, because I never feel like I feel like I owe everyone an explanation. If I make like a statement and then people ask questions, I feel like I owe explanations, and then it turns into this big thing, and then I'm just like a wreck over this, and that's not. I don't like to be like that. I don't like to feel like that. So, For the most part, I try to just stay away from all of this. Like, I don't look at comments anymore. I don't address anything like this anymore, because I don't want to be a part of it. But I heard you say, like, I'm happy to speak to Lainey. So I texted him and I said, if she wants to speak to me, I will. And that's why I came in here.
Yeah, right on. And I'll re-clarify really quickly. I agree. I'm not saying that I think every scandal you should speak up on, but if it's something that involves you, the relation, something that, like, with the Billie thing, that was a big thing. I think we can both agree that was a very, very big thing that you were thrown into. I think in that situation, you kind of...
But, I mean, it's partially my fault, too. I will say that. I'm the one who, like, met her. I'm the one who brought her here. I'm the one who brought her back. A lot of it is my fault, too.
Right, so. But again, he's old enough that he should know better, and it's not that we think you're dumb. It's not that at all. It's not like, oh, poor Lainey's just dumb, doesn't know what she's doing. That's just, again, it's part of the growing up experience, and this is where I think the bigger responsibility should be on him. He's got more life experience, and that's no fault of yours. It's just as a result of age and being out in the world longer. But I think if there's ever something that's that big, I think you really do. If you don't agree with it, you have to come out strong and take a stand. Otherwise, it looks like you're enabling, and it looks like that you're just okay with it. And I'm not saying you are, but I'm just telling you that I think you personally could avoid certain things by doing that. And I think the good thing about you having a channel is you have a platform where you can, and I know you've been more active on it. And by the way, I loved your video on anxiety. I really did. In fact, a lot of my audience did, because a lot of us suffer from anxiety and depression and things. So I just want to say, like, good job on that. I really, really like that piece.
Well, that's the thing, is I don't like to talk about this stuff on my channel because I want my channel to be a positive space. And I don't want to make other people feel like I feel when I get involved in this drama. Especially, you said a lot of people suffer from anxiety. I know that the drama makes me anxious. And so I imagine that people watching it, whether they're on one side or the other, feel anxious as well. And I don't want my channel to become that. I want my channel to be a positive space for people.
You know what, Lainey? I used to have a really similar thought when it came to, because it took me a long time to put myself on YouTube. And because I kind of thought, well, I want to always keep it positive. But I think, Lainey, that, like, and this is just my opinion, I think that it can be just as positive to share your experience. Because when I looked at your video, it didn't make me anxious. It made me relate. Does that make sense? Like, it didn't make me feel anxious for you or you're the victim. It made me feel like she's a real person. And watching you go through it can be, just feeling like somebody can relate and share something with you can be a healing experience for people. And so in that can be a positive. And I'm not telling you what to do or that you should do that. I'm just giving you another perspective.
Well, I have tried to keep, like, my objections to certain behavior private. And my ex can tell you this, that like I said earlier, I texted her and I said that I didn't, agree with what, like, the terms or whatever. Mind you, that was back, like, in November, because when everything happened, like, in January, was it, I was no longer speaking to her. And I haven't spoken to her since. I have not keeping tabs because I don't want to.
Right.
But I don't like everything to blow up publicly. I want to handle things behind the scenes. So sure, to you all it comes off as enabling, but I don't think it's my job to come forward and be like, no, this isn't right, because I have said that, but I do it privately. That's how I want to handle things. I want to handle things privately. I didn't want this all to blow up. That's why when the breakup happened, and I didn't even say anything about it. Neither of us did, because I didn't want this to happen. I know that I would have had an easier time moving on from this had it ended when it ended, and this whole big thing didn't happen, although we're trying to come up with ways to come back or all this. But it should have ended when it ended, and things would have been easier to get over, for me at least. I don't know about her or him, but it would have been easier for me if it had ended that way. But they both just went at each other publicly, so then I was forced to say something as well. I felt like I was forced to, because if not, then again, it looks like I'm defending whatever,
Right.
And I never wanted to have to do that.
Right. And I think this is where it's unfair, because unfortunately, when your husband does the kind of stuff he did with putting everything out there about Billie and the way that all went about, it puts you in an unfair situation where if you don't speak up and you don't say something, it looks like you're enabling. And that's the part that sucks. And it is, it's unfair.
It's not my job to do all that, He's his own person, I'm my own person, and it's unfair of other people to assume that I am automatically on his side just because I'm married to him, so again, it's not my job to come forward and make all these videos and say all these things disagreeing with what he's saying, because I have my own opinions, but it's not my job to go in and make everybody see this, People can have their opinion, but it's unfair of people to assume that I automatically have the same opinion as somebody just because I'm married to them. Like, we're separate people.
But what he's and I understand that. That's a fair point. But when he's bringing you into it, and it has to do with abuse, then I'm just telling you what it looks like. If you don't say something, it looks like you support it. And I'm just telling you what it looks like, not what you should do.
But I did say something. I said something to Billie, which is the person that was involved.
Right, but if you don't, because your husband made it public, if you don't address the public about it, it looks like you support it. I'm just telling you what it looks like. I'm not saying what you should do, what's right, what's wrong, but just what it looks like.
Well, he's the kind of person who likes to make things public, and I'm not. And so I guess therein lies the problem for you guys, because, like I said, we're different people. We disagree all the time. So And
Right.
if I have an issue with something he said or done, I tell him. But I don't need to tell him over Twitter. I don't need to tell him through my channel. I can tell him in person, and I do often. He'll tell you that. Somebody, I told you already.
It's not polite.
All right, I don't know if you have anything else you need me to clear up or whatever.
No, I'm good unless there's anything you want to. It's nice to meet you. You are so sweet. It's really nice to meet you.
Thanks.
At least you happened to me. I can say that. I can sit here and say you've been really nice and respectful and really chill. And I enjoyed the conversation.
Okay, I don't know if this really helped anything, but...
I'm trying to
Oh,
drive
sorry.
on.
I thought you were talking to me.
No.
Yeah, I don't want to...
Sorry, I gotta get going with the patrons.
Okay,
Yeah, we're all going now, so if you could say. Hasta
Okay.
la vista.
that's what I was doing. I dropped something, sorry.
No, you're good. So did he say he was leaving? Is he not coming
Yeah,
back?
I guess he has to live stream on Discord because they're
okay.
at 3.
Okay,
So.
right on. Okay, well, unless there's anything else to talk about, I guess I can get off here and let you enjoy your day.
Okay, I don't know if this really helped anything, but
Well, that's all right. Well, it's nice to meet you, and if you ever, not that you saying you have to, but if you ever feel the need to reach out and clarify something, not that you owe me anything, but I'm here, and I'm not like, I don't bite. I'm not a horrible person, and neither are you. But I'm happy to, if you ever need to talk about something.
Honestly, it's just that I'm tired of all this shit. You know what I mean?
Right, and it's because it's not fair to you.
It's nonstop about stuff that I feel is not even like, I don't know, is blown out of proportion.
Sure, and it's like I said, I agree that it's not fair to you.
I'm helping her pick out an outfit. Sorry.
No, take your time. I didn't know we were going to be talking, so it's not like we're
people think
doing.
I'm like being shady or something, but I'm just helping my sister pick out an outfit for a date. So.
And guys, the debate was supposed to be between me and Onision. Lainey and I don't even see this as a debate. We're just talking. Like we're just kind of chilling. So don't be upset for any reason. You've been really sweet.
I like the first one better.
Okay, I have 2 more coming.
All right. Well, yeah, I gotta go. So.
No worries. Well,
I
it was
I don't
nice
know
to
if
meet
he
you.
wants to come and finish this off later, or I don't know what's going on with that, but
No worries, no worries. Well, I can say it was really nice to meet you. Thank you for being really sweet. Tell your husband, even though it went crazy, it was nice to meet him too. And if he needs to finish this up or whatever, he can, I guess, get at me. And yeah, if you ever need anything, Lainey, just reach out. Not that you would, but if you did, I'm around.
All right.
All right, you have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. I don't know if Greg's gonna want to finish this later, but yeah, I don't know what that even solved. But yeah, thanks for watching and stuff. All right, bye.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and follow us on Twitter to keep up to date on your favorite streamers. We'll argue later.